Now, when the original OnePlus 7 and OnePlus 7 Pro came out, there was a big argument for splashing a bit of extra cash and springing for that Pro model, like the slick Fluid AMOLED 90Hz display, the upgraded camera tech, yada yada yada. But with the fresh new OnePlus 7T series, the gap between the standard and the Pro models has really narrowed. So the question is, should you still consider spunking out more money for that super premium model? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I've been using the OnePlus 7T Pro as my full-time personal handset for the last week or so, and here is my in-depth review. And for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech, please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So let's start, as always, with the design. And the OnePlus 7T Pro sports a very similar look and feel to the original Pro handset. It's once again an absolute beast with a 6.67-inch display, although those gently sloping edges and curved corners make for a comfy enough grip. I just wouldn't recommend it to anyone who likes to wield their phone one-handed, thanks to that killer combination of the serious heft and that slippery glass surface, and I was absolutely terrified using it out and about, and so I had it clutched really tight in both hands. That said, my original OnePlus 7 Pro has survived a couple of steep drops, and the OnePlus 7T Pro is tougher than before, with the Gorilla Glass 6 plating up front and Gorilla Glass 5 on its arse end. After a week of heavy use, I can't spy any scratches, scuffs or marks on any of those sleek surfaces. And as is usual for OnePlus, you don't get any kind of official IP rating for the water and dust resistance, but I've used the OnePlus 7T Pro in absolutely torrential, horrendous downpours. Unexpected, of course, thanks a lot, UK weather. It's been absolutely fine. Quick wipe off and it's shinier than ever. That His blue colour scheme is a slightly lighter finish compared with the original Pro, and just as attractive. You'll notice a subtle gradient pattern as the light bounces off that matte surfacing, and the good news is those greasy prints and smudges are still well disguised, so your OnePlus 7T Pro will keep looking fresh as long as you just give it the occasional little polish on your pants. Now, one of the advantages of that Pro model compared with the standard OnePlus 7T is of course that glorious full view finish. The spacious 6.67-inch Fluid AMOLED panel is unencumbered with any pokey notch action, making it ideal for kicking back with a spot of surviving R. Kelly, or something that's considerably less depressing. It's a Quad HD Plus screen, so you'll enjoy super crisp detail from supported content, and you can play around with the resolution settings to prioritize those slick, sharp visuals or the battery life. Likewise, you can also switch between the standard 60Hz refresh rate or that beautiful 90Hz setting, which makes everything silky smooth. As this is an AMOLED panel, you can enjoy poppy, vibrant colors, especially with the video enhancer mode active. And again, this is all completely customizable in the settings. And you also get some super deep blacks as well. Dive into Netflix and you'll find lots of HDR content, which looks absolutely bloody marvelous here. And your video will also sound super slick thanks to that stereo speaker setup. Of course, on top volume, it does sound a bit tinny as expected, so you will want to connect to some Bluetooth headphones or speakers. Of course, there's no headphone port anywhere to be found on the OnePlus 7T Pro. But you do get full Dolby Atmos support, and I had absolutely no issues with connectivity even when I was out and about in central London. Now, OnePlus's in-display fingerprint sensor is once again back in action, and it seems just as reliable as ever, if not even better, even when my fingers are super dry from fondling smartphones all day or greasy as hell from cooking. It seems to be absolutely fine, nice and dependable. And as an alternative, you can always use the facial recognition. That pop-up camera zips up and down in a flash, and the whole process takes only a second or so, only really struggling if you're wearing shades or have a lot of light behind you. And as always, the software on this thing is absolutely marvelous. This is actually one of the first smartphones to come pack an Android 10 out of the box, and OnePlus has also slapped on its OxygenOS 10.0, its latest version of its own smartphone launcher. That means you get the likes of a dark mode and Google's latest navigation gestures supported, while OnePlus's OxygenOS retains all of your favorite features from the previous gen, including easy customization, those shelf shortcuts, the funky horizon light for notifications, and a bit of ambient display to show your waiting notifications without unlocking the device. I have seen a couple of funny little software quirks here on the OnePlus 7T Pro over the past week. So the auto brightness, for instance, occasionally craps out and just refuses to get any lighter than absolutely pitch black. And once or twice I haven't been able to actually unlock the device as well, which is a less than great feature. But hopefully this is just a couple of silly little bugs and they'll be completely wiped out by the time the OnePlus 7T Pro actually comes to retail. And if you want to know more, I've taken a closer look at some of the new and updated OxygenOS 10 software features in my full tips and tricks guide, so go have a squint at that for all you need to know, including stuff like the updated Zen mode. Now, OnePlus is actually the only smartphone manufacturer besides ASUS to pack in Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 855 Plus chipset into one of its handsets, so that makes the OnePlus 7T Pro one of the nippiest mobiles around right now. With some assistance from that 90Hz display, you get a silky smooth experience throughout, and the OnePlus 7T Pro definitely should not show any signs of creakiness anytime soon. The latest games like PUBG Mobile and Call of Duty Mobile play with a nice smooth frame rate even at those maximum graphical settings and during those super intense moments. You also get that Fnatic mode, which makes a welcome return from the original Pro to block out any pesky notifications and prioritize your game as far as performance and network access and things like that go. As for the battery capacity, well, there's the slightest of upgrades here on the OnePlus 7T Pro compared with the older OnePlus 7 Pro. It's now a 4085 mAh cell compared with the original 4000. Whoop! You can once again expect all-day battery life, even when you hammer this handset with non-stop media streaming and plenty of camera play. And even though the previous gen Warp Charge 30 tech was super nippy, it's been proved once again for this generation with Warp Charge 30T. So even though this is a bigger battery, it will charge just as quickly as before. Now, last up in this review is one of the most contentious bits of any new OnePlus handset. I'm of course talking about the camera tech. Here on the OnePlus 7T Pro, you basically get the same hardware setup as the original Pro and a boosted telephoto lens compared with the standard OnePlus 7T. This offers the usual flexible setup complete with some fresh new camera features, including a super macro mode, updates to the portrait and nightscape features, and a new super stable video effort as well. For everything you need to know, including a comparison with the original OnePlus 7 Pro to see what exactly has changed, go check out my in-depth OnePlus 7T Pro camera review live right now. So that right there is what I reckon about the OnePlus 7T Pro after using it as my personal handset for a week. I definitely suffered from some serious deja vu, as most of the handset has basically been lifted wholesale from the original Pro, from that gorgeous display and the camera hardware to the overall look and feel. And of course, those Oxygen OS 10 software updates will be coming to the original Pro, so owners of the older phone won't miss out. The new OnePlus 7T is definitely the winner of these two new handsets and makes the Pro model a much harder sell. Basically what it comes down to is, do you want a bigger handset with a slightly bigger battery and of course that full view Quad HD Plus display. But all the same, this is a great all-round handset and it still makes me feel all squishy in my tummy hole. So are you tempted by the OnePlus 7T Pro or perhaps by the cheaper OnePlus 7T? Definitely be great to hear your thoughts down below, and don't forget to poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech. Cheers everyone, love you!